An index is a number that tells us how many times a term has been multiplied by itself. The questions we will go over will demonstrate how we should be dealing with indices. Question 8, simplify x cubed y to the power of 4 times x to the power of 5 y cubed. This question is rather simple. We just need to know that when two values have the same base and are multiplied, you should add the indices together. If we look at x first, x cubed times x to the power of 5 would give us x to the power of 8. With y to the power of 4 times y cubed is y to the power of 7, which means overall the final answer would be x to the power of 8, y to the power of 7. Question 7. Simplify 16p to the power of 16 to the power of 1 over 4. For this question, everything within the brackets is to the power of 1 over 4. And the first step would be to separate what's inside the brackets into two parts. So that would give us 16 to the power of 1 over 4 times p to the 16 all to the power of 1 over 4. So if we focus on this one, we know that we have to multiply the two indices together to get the p to the power of the resulting index. So 16 times 1 over 4 would give us 4. So this would give us p to the power of 4. We also know that any base to the power of 1 over 4 would equal to, so let's say x to the power of 1 over 4 is equal to the fourth root of that number. So if we have 16 to the power of 1 over 4, it would be equal to the fourth root of 16. And as we know, that is 2, because 2 to the power of 4 is 16. Altogether, our final answer would therefore be 2 p to the power of 4.
So for the more difficult indice questions, looking at question A, we can see that we have to simplify 81 to the power of 3 over 4. So as we've learned previously, to the power of 3 and to the fraction of a number, it means it's the square root of 4. But looking at 81, we could see that we could rewrite it as 3 to the power of 4. We know this because 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, and 27 times 3 is 81. So it's kind of good to have these sort of notions in your head while you're solving these types of questions, because doing 81 times 81 times 81 is a very arduous task. So once we rewrite 81 as 3 to the power of 4, we could say 3 to the power of 4 multiplied by 3 over 4. This simplifies to 3 to the power of 3, which, like we said before, is equal to 27. Looking at the second question, we can rewrite this first equation, but multiply the two. So we can rewrite this as x to the power of 2 over 3, we keep that the same, times x to the power of 4 over 3. Why? Because we will be flipping the power of x, because a negative exponent means we rewrite it as 1 over x. So we multiply it, and yeah, we can just get rid of the negatives. This leads to a final answer of x to the power of 6 over 3, which is the same as x to the power of 2. For the last one, what we can see, like we said, there's a negative exponent, and what we can do, we can split this into two parts. So we have 8 to the power of 1 over 3, negative 1 over 3, times y to the power of negative 6 times 1 over 3. Because it's 1 over y, that's the same as y to the power of negative 1. Okay. Put this in brackets. After that, we know 8 to the power of 1 over 3 is the same as a half, 1 over the cube root of 8. And we the cube root of 8 is equal to 2. So it'll be 1 over 2. So the final answer will be 1 over 2 times y to the power of negative 6 times 1 over 3, which will equal to negative 1 over 3, which will equal to y squared.